Okay, everybody. I got a story from my ancestors. It's about a haunted house. And haunted houses, I do know a lot about haunted things as I talk more to the dead than I do the living. And this is about someone that is in a cycle where a boy was unalived years and years and years ago. Many years ago. And the thing is, the energy wants their story told. And that's why the families that move in this house are always coming across this little boy. So I put together this in my bucket, all these different cards here. And I got my other cards. So I'm going to report this little boy's story. Because somebody is living in a haunted house somewhere. And I'm here to explain the story. I wrote some notes on it for my ancestors as I speak to the dead more than the living. And honestly, the dead are more honest. They really are. They're more honest and sometimes nicer. Alright, and I took some notes. Guys. Alright, a family moved into a haunted house. There was an unaliving to a young child. Nobody found the suspect. And this is something that happened like 200 years ago. The couple had a 4-year-old boy and a 10-year-old girl. And the children have access to unknown areas of consciousness. Especially when you're children, because you're not conditioned to... They see dead because they don't know otherwise because they're younger and they're more susceptible and they see things. And this is the present people that moved in. The past timelines sometimes repeat until justice is served. So this past timeline just kept repeating to justice. It just keeps repeating to justice is served. And then life finds a way through the ages as mysteries are uncovered. This little boy just wants a story to be told. And then the dead timelines will repeat until our stories are told. Our life is not acknowledged. Life is not acknowledged, will find a way to be known. This is a story of a young boy who was abused by his family, then discarded, and his story was never told. Simple as that. Alright, his name was Edward, from what I am being told. Alright, and he was 4. And as he went into he has never surfaced. He hasn't been reborn yet or nothing. He just kind of, the time loop keeps going. And I believe in time loops. I do. Because time loops, it just naturally happen. So I got this, life situations and stuff, and I'm going to draw a couple cards from here to find out what's going on with this haunted house here. I mean, if you're living in a haunted house, maybe if you come across this video, I don't get a whole lot of people listening. Possibly Edward is in your house. Okay, we got, alright, going viral. Alright, this moment has reactions. Alright. I got going viral, but if we're talking 200 years ago, gossip. The gossip of this went viral to the community. It went viral. They didn't have phones like we have 200 years ago, obviously, guys. Alright, and this little boy, he didn't get much. He was breadcrumbed. He didn't get the nicer clothes. He got, his sister got the clothes that weren't as nice, and he got the ones that, the hand-me-downs all the time. That he just was not as loved as the other one. I don't think I'm thinking it was I'm picking up for my ancestors. They're telling me that it was the little girl was it was a somebody they had got remarried, and the little boy was someone else's in there, and it wasn't their child, so they kind of didn't care too much about the little boy. That's what I'm getting. And then we got power outage. All right. This says when the grid goes down, so we're talking about 200 years ago. And then the outage. I want to say this was the day that his life was no more with the power outage. Alright. It's very sad. The people that live in the house now may be experiencing things, but the little boy just wants to be known. And I guess if you say his name out loud and say it's okay to go to the light, and he feels loved at some point. It was so young when he passed, and there was really no one around. He got scared, and that energy kind of stayed in one sector. This happens. It's like a lost soul type thing. So let's see what other energy comes up here. Release. His soul has to be released. To release his soul, one just has to kind of find out where he's at in the house. And then we got outdated. There's some kind of discarded material in the house. It's like a colonial house. It's an older house. There's some outdated material in the house, from what I'm getting. I'm not sure, just some kind of outdated material. Maybe it's something that's of historical significance. Somebody's bought a house, an older house. And how he was unalived, he was abused, yes, but I think he died more of neglect. I'm picking up, there was an accident, and there were stairs. I'm picking up stairs. He just fell down the stairs, and he literally, he fell down the stairs and he was no more. It's a heavy subject to come across, but it was it. I mean, he's not a dark entity or anything. He's just confused. That's it. Then we got self-neglect. The boy was neglected. He wasn't watched. I'm picking up also that this little boy, from what my ancestors said, was buried somewhere around the property, and they just said that he was lost or something. I'm not even I think that they didn't want to get in trouble. It was something they didn't want to get in trouble, so they did bury him somewhere near the property. He's buried somewhere near the property. That's it. I mean, if you are in the house, pray to the Most High that this child finds its way. and just help release him. And then we have Black Passion. Alright. This couple, I want to say it was his stepdad and it was his real mom that was there. They were in separate beds. So, they weren't on the best of terms, his parents. They were not on the best of terms. They just kind of, I think after the whole thing when the accident happened, I think they just parted ways and they buried him. But the little boy was confused. He was all alone when he fell down the stairs because nobody really watched him. They didn't pay attention to him. Nothing was done. It's terrible. But now there's a centered calm around this whole situation, and the time loop keeps going round and round for the little boy. It's one of those time paradox things. If someone acknowledges where he's at, who he is, and gives him kind words, he can go to the light. He's in a forest area. He's in a forest area near the house. It's like one of those cold cases from 200 years ago that everybody involved is already passed on. Everyone's passed on from this timeline. Everybody is. And then we got radical hope. This little boy has hope that he's going to find his mom. He's looking for his mom. Yeah, he's looking for his mom, I know that. If I was near this property, I'd help, trust me. Now there's a looming agenda. You have different ideas about love. Alright, we're going to take that from there. They said they loved him, but he didn't know why he was always not treated well. He got confused. And when sometimes back in those days, things slipped by. People were really mean. In the medieval ages, it was even worse. Then we got victim mode. Alright. When he passed and the accident happened, people went in victim mode. They said, well, if they find out that we were involved, that's it. We're going to be in problems. And then denial came up. Here, I split the deck. There's denial. There was denial of who was watching him and yada yada. And bad timing. Bad timing. They said it was bad timing. They were trying to get to him, but they didn't get to him in time. I mean, I'm gonna pray for this kid. I mean, I really am. My ancestors are trying to help. Wheel of Fortune's in reverse. The family was losing money. They couldn't take another hit to their income. Times were hard back then. There was some kind of sickness going around. And their daughter was already sick and on her deathbed. I don't know, the little girl, his sister was already sick and they already had to bury the daughter, and they just decided just to let things be. So they ended up with him falling down the stairs and the other one passing away. And I really wish I was making this up, and I don't like to post things like this, but I guess if you live in this house and you feel like you're being haunted, all you have to do is tell the little boy that his parents are in heaven and maybe read from the Bible. The boy was Catholic, Roman Catholic exactly, because it's a very old religion. They were a Catholic family. Alright, and they were sharing space, him and his sister. Him and his sister was sharing space. So they had the same bedroom. Because the family was making money, but then the Wheel of Fortune went in reverse. And we got unworthy, as I bring up here, the deck. The little boy, just the whole family and little boy was doing that, and they threw shade. They talked about the family. They thought the family was crooked. And there was pent up anger in the situation with the parents. Pent up anger comes up. And then false knowledge. There was false knowledge of all the situations, so the families, they grieved, but the little boy, his spirit lingers. If you see the little boy, don't run from him, or if you feel him around, just try to just say a prayer for him in the wood area. He's by a oak tree. He is by an oak tree. And if you see him, if you feel a presence by a big oak tree, say a prayer. Alright. And then I have It's Worth the Time. Because it could put his soul at rest. Sometimes I've done this. I did this when I went to Gettysburg. I went to the battlefield. There's a lot of orbs around there. I went to Devil's Den. I will share you that story. Me and my ex-husband, we went to Gettysburg, and I was crying at the spot where all of the Southern soldiers, because at the last part of the battle they were underage, they were like teenagers, and they died. That's how the North won, because the soldiers were so young. The way they were losing the war, so they took anybody at that point. And their body, they didn't even bury the bodies in Gettysburg. They said it was, because I used to go there with my ex-husband all the time, and yeah, it was, and right by they call it Devil's Den. And they said the smell was there, and you could smell it everywhere, and it was there, and it lingered for like months. The smell of dead bodies, and it was all of the soldiers that weren't buried. They buried the Union, the ones from the northern soldiers, but not the ones from the South. They just were chopped apart in pieces and put by these rocks. And when you go by these rocks, if you're intuitive, you just feel a sadness. And I went over there and I started crying. It was sad. And I tried to help these guys, and I just said a little prayer, and I hope I helped their spirit, because they were stuck in a time loop. So I get it. There was an aligned future between him and his sister. It was like they almost went at the same time. She was sick, and he fell down the stairs around the same time she died. His parents never really got over it. His mom's death was unexplainable. They said that she unalived herself. And then split the deck again. Red lipstick stains. The husband ended up finding somebody else after the death of the children. And She didn't want to be alive. And she was getting crumbs herself because he just wanted to start over and be happy with someone else and get over things. And we got fulfilled promises. There was no promises fulfilled in this union at all. And this husband of hers just ignored her. Like I said, we got separate beds here. So, yeah. And then here, I'm looking through here, secret society. There was some kind of government thing the husband was involved with, and he just didn't want to be involved with dealing with what was going on. So if you do have a creepy feeling and this is your reading, these are not malicious spirits. These are just ones that are in a time loop. And if you do feel or hear them in the forest, it's probably some kind of ghost story that's going around town. And you probably already know about it. They probably call it something like my ancestors are saying, oh my god, everything's falling. Everything's falling. Okay. Maybe everything fell apart in this kid's life, and I do believe that did happen. Anyways, if it is your story, then it means you live in around the haunted forest. And around probably Halloween, I'm being told, the story is told. So, and there's many. I live in Ohio. We got many haunted stories. Many haunted stories. We got, it's one of the most haunted sites in the world, Ohio. It really is. So these things do appear. They do. So if you're involved in that, just all you gotta do is pray so they can have a better thing. And then I'm gonna bring some more cards up. Alright, we got 7 of Wands. Alright, these guys have held firm in the face of opposition, and they defended their beliefs and values. They did. They're good people. This is not bad. They're not bad spirits. They're not. They just need to move on. They've got invitation. There's been delays getting them to the beyond so they can get reborn. And there's been invitations, but they haven't took it. They haven't took the invitation to go to the other side. They haven't. They're in an illusion state. They're sitting with illusions. So, that's why. And then we got stubbornness to invitation. They're just afraid to leave that timeline to go to another one. And sometimes humans get stuck in these timelines. And there's been a lot of misinformation about this family. But, yeah, that's... So, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to post this. So if this is you and you own the property, buy this. Like I said, if you're in the forest, you'll know, because in your community, people will say they feel creepy around a certain area. It'll be some kind of legend or something. There'll be something going on to that point, is what I'm saying. So, and all you got to do is pray and help these guys move on. And that's it. That's all you really have to do. I promise it will be okay. So who this concerns, if this finds you, Edward would appreciate it. Well, the divine would like you if you are involved in this haunted history of this boy, to get them out of the timeline. And I guess that's it. I mean, it's all said and done, but it's just to get them in a higher timeline now. So I will be, when I get home from work and do my run around, I'll be doing another dog walk live, and I appreciated everyone that joined me in that other dog walk. You guys are wonderful. You guys are. And I appreciate everything y'all do. I do. Maybe one day I'll be able to get that real good, nice. I'll be able to get that nice pet shelter that looks fantastic with a nice building, and hopefully help as many dogs and cats that I can possibly help. And maybe if time goes on, I could help even more animals, because I feel that the world needs help and we need hope. We do. Everybody needs hope and they need help. They do. We all do. We all need hope. So, but yeah, this was a message to somebody that felt that they were living in a haunted area and they felt creeped out. If you did, this is why. And I'm going to probably watch me a movie and go to sleep because I got to go to work tomorrow, guys. And I will see you on my dog walk. And I appreciate y'all. Stay safe and, and continue being blessed. And I will see you later.